Ah yes, Mega Man, a franchise that doesn't get enough love around here. Mega Man can underperform one time, just one little bitty time, with little marketing and little attention to the franchise, and Capcom's like, well, guess no one likes this series no more, time to throw it in the trash. I'll never understand how Capcom works sometimes. Mega Man 11 did well, and the Legacy collections are always selling gangbusters, it seems like. But even then, it takes us so long to get a game. We got Mega Man 11 how many years ago? And it wasn't for X-Dive keeping everyone's interest in the franchise alive, who knows if we're even getting an X9 or whatever. By the way, please buy the Legacy Collection for Battle Network. It's actually a really good franchise. I hope we get a Star Force 1 too, just praying. No! Mega Man is such a very fun and unique series, especially for the original platformers. They're fun, high-octane platformers. More specifically, the X, the Zero, and the ZX series, allowing you to do things like dash, wall jump multiple times, attack with a sword, etc., etc. It really just depends. And of course, just like any rightful community, if your main branch is taking too long to make a new game, you make one yourself. Gravity Circuit. Gravity Circuit, yes sir. I don't even remember how I came across this game. I remember seeing like a trailer for it one time, then a demo, and then suddenly the game was out. I already know I spent most of my time yelling about Hi-Fi Rush at the beginning of the year and how it's actually the best hidden game of this year. You have to play it. And I still stand by that. But unlike Gravity Circuit, Hi-Fi Rush is actually recommended at the Game Awards. So now I gotta scream about another game that's not being appreciated enough. And yes, I'm using the same kind of title as everyone else. This is the best game you haven't played. I'm not actually gonna use that for the title of the video. Please don't get mad at me. So what is Gravity Circuit? How did it come to be? Who made it and why? Okay, so as they're seeming to be a small indie company, I don't really know much about them, or there isn't really much about them online either. Apparently this is made by someone called Domesticated Ants Games. That's a 10 out of 10 company name, 10 out of 10. But we're here to talk about Gravity Circuit. So we'll see exactly what's going on with this game and why I think it's so fun. I'll start with the story, because in these kind of Mega Man-esque style games, the story really isn't that important. I mean, it has its own twists and turns. It is actually really fun to go through, but I don't really want to spoil it, so I'll keep it brief. There's this weird planet. It might be Earth, it might not, they don't really say. And the entire inhabitants are filled with robots. Cute little robots, small little robots, boy little robots, doge robots, girl robots. And yet there's this weird space virus that's going around and attacking people, infecting people, making them evil. In come the circuits, armed with the headband pieces, you know, like the little symbols on their heads and shit. They embark on to fight the evildoers and bring peace back to the world, but apparently most of them all got infected by viruses except for one, that's Kai, our Gravity Circuit. Apparently he was doing quite well, and then he got knocked out and almost put out of commission. You know how it goes. And now all of his buddies are evil, ruining stuff around the world, and now he kind of has to kill them. Yeah, kind of sucks. And after saving the Colonel, you can introduce to the home base, meet everyone going around there, break a jar or two containing a body that who knows what's inside. They literally charge you if you break it so many times. It's hilarious. Save another weird guy named Nega who looks completely suspicious, but trust me, he's actually not. Or is he? No, I'm just playing. He's really not. But maybe. No, I'm just playing. Got you though.
Shut up, you stupid bitch.
And Kai is off to the races. So that's enough about the story. Let me talk about the visuals next. This game's pixel art is so fucking good. Each stage uses very limiting colors, but they also stand out very strikingly with just the character art itself. Kai and the world he inhabits and the characters that he interacts and talks to all look so very nice to look at and fun to watch them animate and interact with each other. It doesn't happen much in terms of like the character interactions and stuff like that, but what's really important is the fact that it's just entertaining to look at and fun to see. I also love it how after you complete every stage, the Colonel usually makes a weird little comment about it, and well, Kai is just not having any of it anytime he's doing it. And I shouldn't really have to say this, but the designs of all these characters are also really great. You can just kind of tell what everyone's like, but even then they even say some things to really throw you off every now and then, which again, the Colonel, he's like my favorite character in the game. I like Kai too, but he's just like traditional stoic. Doesn't really say much, reacts when he has to, is determined. You know, traditional platform protagonist. Although there isn't really much to say about the visuals outside of just how great they are, so I'll transition to the meat of this game, the game and sound. Like I've said before, this game is heavily inspired by Mega Man, specifically the X series games, but it also takes some notes from the platformers. And I was wondering how they can make this game seem really unique and stand out on its own. without having it just be the traditional jumping and shooting. To my absolute surprise, it didn't go for that at all. Instead, what Gravity Rush does really, really well in terms of its platforming and stage design is the fact of its main interaction with enemy. Instead of having a sword or a buster like X and Zero do, Kai just throws straight hands. But that's not the only cool thing he has, because a game like this would definitely, why do I say it like that? Definitely, there we go, need some sort of projectile or a long distance weapon in order for you to make things very interesting and be able to defend yourself from long distance foes. And Kai has that in the form of a reverse hook shot, which can allow you to grab any enemy and physical projectile in the game, but also allows you to dangle from it and swing around too. And this little addition to the already great traditional Mega Man style gameplay blew my mind entirely. Because now it's not just about how you move in the area with your base abilities, it's about how you use the mechanics you already have as the game changes and challenges you harder, and creative ways for you to avoid obstacles and even death. Of course, just like any traditional Mega Man game, you also have the ability to dash and wall jump indefinitely, but the game really emphasizes for you to use this hook, especially when there are points of no return where you have to use the hook to dangle over something, mainly a bottomless pit or around some spikes. Yeah, just like Mega Man, robots don't like spikes. It's kind of funny. And even then, if an enemy's already giving you shit and you're on solid footing, just grab them and throw them. Pretty fun. Also, it's really fun to combo it and chain it together. You get money for it, which you can use at this store right here to talk to the weird guy named Nega I mentioned before. You can buy combat upgrades based off the bosses you beat, and also from this nurse, where you can buy perks and extra buffs for your character, but you can only do it if you rescue a certain amount of people and collect a certain amount of money. Let me remind you something right now. Do this immediately. Sure, you can only hold up to 3 perks at a time, but you can always swap them out anytime in the pause menu. Meaning that no matter what the situation presents to you, you can always just make it just a tad bit easier, but it never takes away the challenge of the obstacle itself. It just makes it a bit easier for people to get through. And then the boss fights in the game. Oh man, the bosses, definitely inspired by Mega Man bosses. They are so fun with very interesting patterns, and considering the fact that you don't have a buster, your main method of attacking them is usually to just go up to them and punch them in the face. On top of that, you can also shoot them with your grappling hook. Although, of course, obviously, it's more fun and faster to just punch them in the face, because, like, who doesn't like punching people in the face? And traditionally, like Mega Man, once you beat them, once again, going back to Nega, you can get combat abilities that are not only useful for knocking around enemies and foes, but also have use in mobility outside of combat, which also can really help with those extra critical moments of you trying to get around. Too bad I suck at the game, though. And I died a lot. Thankfully, this is one of those games that doesn't really do the live system, it just does the checkpoint system. Very nicely and well-paced checkpoints, but the checkpoints also work as a healing pod for either full restores or getting your super gauge ready so you can do more of those fancy moves I mentioned earlier. And of course, it also costs money. The same money that you collect going through stages, and the same money you get when you clear a stage, and the same money you use to exchange for points and other perks. So always, it seems like you may always have enough money to get what you want, but you may not, and then you have to go around and grind for some extra cash or rescue some more people in the stages. But finding out what really works for you and swapping whatever you need at the right time depending on the situation really does give you the extra benefit. You get things like invulnerability when you slide or dash. Please get that. I use that. Adding a hitbox to your slide and dash. A double jump. Why is this a base ability? Then again, I understand why it's like that. Also, when it comes to the ability perks, all I have to say is please grab, catch, interrupt. Mainly because you can take anything and catch it and throw it right back at somebody. And because this right here is so fucking funny.
This is over.
But of course, the best aspect of Mega Man, besides all of its fun gameplay, is the fucking music. And Gravity Rush does not disappoint at all. This soundtrack is so good. It's top to bottom amazing. Like, so good you can buy it separately on Steam good. You know what? You really should. me and my editor have decided on a short sample of music tracks from the game for you to listen to. Of course, I'm not going to play all of them all the way, but just the highlights from the songs that we like. And honestly, I don't really want to say much else about the game because the game itself is already just so much fun. Also, with it being just under 5 hours in total, I really don't think anything more about the game should be said. But this game does everything that the Mega Man series does right, and just adds his own little spin on it, but still has a unique identity of its own that is just so damn fun to play. And honestly, the game itself kind of rewards you for being fast, as you're kind of ranked on a lot of different factors at the end of a stage. Hell, the game has its own speedrunner mode, which I already know the speedrunning communities and the Games Done Quick, yep, Games Done Quick, are already speedrunning it. I can't wait to see those plays. If this video comes out in time for all the winter sales to be available, it should still be on sale. So please pick it up, please, please. And if there's a gamer's choice or anything for that during any kind of award ceremony that you guys like, please vote for this game. It definitely deserves it. Yeah, phew. Okay, I think I was a bit too excited, but I really wanted to just yell about this game again.